Hey guys, Ron Bosse here, and in this video I'm going to teach you how to create and edit a multi-camera angle music video shoot in Adobe Premiere. Let's get started. So what are we dealing with here? Okay, so this is a live music video shoot of a solo guitarist in studio, okay? In terms of audio capture, we are recording the guitarist with a 3 microphone setup that is going directly to Logic Pro so that we can professionally mix and master that audio, okay? In terms of cameras, we have a 3 camera angle setup. One is a wide shot on a tripod. The other is a close-up shot on a tripod. It's kind of more of a medium shot. And the third is a handheld shot that is getting those super close-ups and in a very dramatic fashion, okay? So onward over here to Adobe Premiere. So you can see here in my project window, I have a variety of bins that I've set up. Now, any of those of you who are new to video editing, I would highly recommend that you keep your session as organized as possible by creating bins so that you can have all your vital assets readily available and in an organized fashion. So as you can see here, I have an audio bin. This audio bin contains my mixed and mastered audio. We're going to actually be working on this song called The Explorer, which was take 2. Here is my medium shot. Now you can see I have everything color coded. So the song that we're going to be editing here, which is called The Explorer, is actually color coded. Here are the 3 takes right here in blue, okay? Take 1, take 2, and take 3. Okay, here are my handheld shots, and here are my wide shots down here. Okay, so in order for us to begin editing our video, we need to do what's called creating a multi-clip. And by basically creating a multi-clip, what we're doing is we're syncing our cameras. And not only our cameras, but we're syncing the professional mixed and mastered audio that we created as well, okay? And in order to do this, we need Adobe Premiere to create what is called a multi-clip for us. So this is how we do this, okay? So I'm going to go up here, and I am going to command-click on our audio track, The Explorer. I'm going to go down here to our medium shot, and I'm going to command-click on take 2, okay? Take 2 of the handheld, and take 2 of the wide, okay? I am then going to right-click, and I am going to select Create Multi-Camera Source Sequence. I'm going to call this The Explorer. Now, this is what's happening here. As you can see right here, it says Synchronize Point. So basically what that is Adobe Premiere has the ability to sync all these assets, in this case, the audio track and the 3 camera angles, in a variety of ways, okay? It could be through in points or out points or time code. Those are all things that we'll get to in another video. As you can notice here is audio right here is the default. So we are syncing all these assets via audio, which is the most common, okay? Now, one thing I want to point out here is, remember I said that we were capturing the audio from this in-studio performance with microphones going directly into Logic Pro, okay? Which is the standard if you want like super high quality audio. And even though that's the case, we were still rolling audio on all the cameras. And that's something that you always want to remember, guys, because if you don't roll audio on all those cameras, you're not going to be able to sync them up, or at least have Adobe Premiere using this method sync them up. Now you can still sync it up manually, and ultimately you'd be cool and it wouldn't be that much of a problem, but why not go the easy route, roll audio on all the cameras so that you can use this method that I'm teaching you right now. So if I hit OK, check out what happens. As you can see, first of all, let me close these boxes here. Adobe Premiere just created a multi-clip for me called The Explorer. Now, if I click on the multi-clip icon here, I right-click on that, I'm going to go to New Sequence from Clip, okay? Now, as you can see here, let me just expand this out a little. Here I've got my one video track that comprises all three of the angles, okay? And I also got here 4 separate audio tracks, okay? Now, why do we have 4 separate audio tracks? Well, I'll tell you why. This right here is the professionally mixed and mastered audio. This is the audio from camera 1, this is the audio from camera 2, and that's the audio from camera 3, okay? So that's why we have so much audio. Now, what you can do is you can solo the mixed and mastered audio, because that's ultimately, obviously, what we're going to use, or you could just delete these other audio tracks if you want to keep everything really clear. So before we do anything, I want to kind of point one thing out to you. Let me solo one of the camera tracks. Now, just listen to this audio for a second. Now, for the most part, I mean, that's not that bad of audio because this is a really great guitar player playing a really great original song. But you know, there's a lot of ambient noise. It's very live sounding, and it's not really where we want to be. Now, if I contrast that with this and I solo the mixed and mastered audio, listen to the dramatic difference that we have. Okay. So this is mixed and mastered, and as you can see from this angle here, you've got like a 3 microphone configuration here. You've got 2 SM81 Shure microphones, you know, 1 left getting the sound hole, 1 right getting the fingerboard, and you got a Neumann U87 right in the center, one of the most iconic mics of all time. So, you know, this thing sounds great. It's been mixed and mastered, so, you know, you've got like a hint of compression in there. You've got some reverb, it's been EQ'd, it's been mastered the whole 9 yards, the audio is maximized, so that's why it sounds great. So anyway, okay, so I'm going to leave that soloed because that's what audio, you know, capture that we're going to go with. Okay, so now why do I only see one camera angle at the moment? Well, that's because we're not in multi-view. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to this icon right here, you're going to click on that. Okay, now, there we go. There's our 3 camera angles. Now let me just play this, and as you can see, everything is perfectly synchronized, okay? Right here is our wide shot. This is our medium shot / close-up, and this is our handheld shot here, okay? Now, when I click on a camera angle, notice what happens here. Here's my what we call program output. This is what the world sees, okay? This is ultimately what the world's going to see, okay? You as the editor, you're seeing all this stuff, and when you click on this, right, it sort of spits that out to program view. If I want to jump over here to my dramatic handheld close-up, now you're seeing that, okay? Go over here to this medium shot, you're seeing that. Now I'm going to keep on doing this for a second, and if you notice down here in the timeline, you know, the track is playing all the synchronized sources right now. Let me go back here. I'm not really doing this, you know, creatively. I'm just kind of show you a point here. Switch to that. Now look down here at what happened. You see these little cuts right here? So while I was making those cuts, Adobe Premiere was recording those cuts for me. How cool is that? Okay? So let me do this. Let me just delete those movements that I made. Now, let me go here. Now, I'm going to go to the very start of this. Okay, so let me use my blade tool, and I'm just going to trim this because, you know, there's some talking up front and adjusting camera angles and the guitarist, you know, kind of tuning and getting ready. So let me trim it right down to the beginning. Okay, so let's say you are now about to make your cuts, okay? So what I would do is this, is I would watch through the video and I would get a feel aesthetically for what you're dealing with, okay? Look at each of the camera angles. Listen to the song. Listen to the emotional trajectory of the song, and try to get a feel for how that emotional trajectory is interacting with the camera angles. And does one camera angle support that trajectory better than the others, okay? Now, I can tell you right now that in a shoot like this, the wide shot here, okay, and the medium shot, they're great shots, as you can see. You know, they're framed up great. The composition is awesome. But I'm going to tell you from personal experience, it's the dramatic close-ups that you almost always go with. You know, you could almost cut together the entire video with just that close-up. But the thing is the nature of a handheld close-up is that there are going to be some dead shots. There are going to be some times where the camera operator is moving around, and, you know, you might have some, you know, times where they're adjusting focus, or, you know, they're running around, and you might get a little dead area that you are kind of forced to have to go back to one of the other shots. Now, again, in this instance, these other shots are great, so they're going to provide a lot of visual interest, okay? I would kind of suggest with something like this, where maybe going, you know, from the handheld back to the wide, back to the handheld, then maybe to the medium, back to the handheld, back to the wide, rather than going from the handheld to the wide and then to the medium and then back to the wide, because then you're going to, you know, two very similar shots if you go from the wide to the medium. Like, as you can see, I mean, these are strategically framed up in such a way that they do provide some angle interest, where you can see this one is kind of to the right, this one, the camera is a little more to the left, this one is certainly tighter than this one. So you could go from, you know, that shot to that shot, but to me, to my eyes, I kind of like more so going from, you know, the wide or the medium to the close-up, and then going back to one of those shots, and then going again back to the close-up, okay? That looks best to my eyes. So let's try this, okay? Now, one other thing that I would highly recommend, when you start to finally make the cuts, after you've kind of gone through the footage to get a feel for what you're dealing with aesthetically, I would make the cuts and just go with raw instinct, okay? Don't try to be precise. We'll get to the precision afterwards. So let's try this. I'm gonna hit play. I'm gonna start on this wide shot to get some kind of establishing nature. Now, that handheld is looking really great, so I'm gonna cut to that, okay? This is looking great. I'm going to stay on this. Okay. I'm going to go to this medium shot. This is looking nice. Okay. I'm going to wait till cameraman kind of levels out on the handheld. Okay, that's looking good. That looks pretty stable. Stay on that for a second. Okay, I'm going to cut wide now. I'm going to stay here just for a moment, see what's happening in the handheld shot up here. It looks like they're up. A little movement there, so it looks like it's stabilized, so I'm going to cut back to that handheld. Okay, let that run for a moment. Okay, I'm going to jump to the medium. That looks cool. Wait here for a second, make sure the camera operator stabilizes that. That looks good. Okay, I'm going to jump to the wide. Bang, that looks nice. Okay, now let's say you go through the entire piece like that, okay? From that point, I would then go back, guys, and I would use my roll tool, okay? Your keystroke is going to be R. And as you can see, I just converted to my roll tool. So I would go back, and I would watch all my cuts again. I'm going to expand this out, okay? So actually, let me toggle off of multi-view so you can just see the program output. So right here, let's look at this first cut. Okay, so that was cool where it started wide and then it cut to the camera close-up, right? But let's say I want that to do that a little sooner. I'm just going to use my roll tool just to bring it back there, okay? Bang, that looks nice. I like that, okay? So let me go and check out this next cut. That was cool, but I'm gonna bring this back just a little, just to tweak it. Let me look at the next cut here. Okay, so, it went to the handheld maybe a little sooner than I wanted, so I'm gonna just expand the cutout a little more so it captures a little more of this medium shot. Bang, until it goes to the close-up. Let's see what happens here. That was cool, but I was only on that handheld for a slight bit, so I'm going to try to expand that out and see if I can get a little more mileage out of that. Okay, that's looking good. Staying on the handheld, bang, goes to the wide. So again, I would highly recommend you taking that sort of workflow when you're editing a video like this. I would, again, first watch through the video 1, 2, maybe even 3 times, aesthetically get an understanding of what type of footage that you have, make a determination of where the music is going emotionally, and kind of think about how the camera angles relate to that emotional trajectory, okay? Then after that, just instinctually go through. Literally try to do one take and just bang, just click on the camera angles and make those cuts. Then, once you've made those cuts, go back through and go back and use that roll tool to fine-tune those edits. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.